the Olympic flame, a symbol of purity, peace, and brotherhood. For over a century, the modern Olympic Games have promised to unite the world through sport, celebrating human achievement and fostering global understanding. The stated ideals are noble: to build a better world through friendly competition, transcending political, religious, and racial divides. But behind the dazzling opening ceremonies and the tearful medal presentations, a different story unfolds. A story of power, politics, and propaganda. Have the Olympic Games, intended to be a beacon of unity, become one of the most effective propaganda tools in modern history? The answer begins in 1936, in Berlin. Adolf Hitler's Nazi regime saw the Olympics not as a sporting event, but as a once-in-a-generation opportunity. They would stage the ultimate spectacle, a coming-out party for the new Germany. The city was meticulously cleaned. Anti-Semitic signs were temporarily removed. The regime spent lavishly, building a monumental stadium and introducing the now famous torch relay, a tradition invented for these very games to link their Third Reich with the glories of ancient Greece. The goal was to project an image of a powerful, unified, and benevolent nation, masking the brutal reality of their ideology. The master filmmaker Leni Riefenstahl was commissioned to capture this spectacle. Her groundbreaking film, Olympia, was a masterpiece of cinematic propaganda, using innovative camera angles, slow-motion shots, and dramatic editing. She glorified the athletic form, particularly that of German athletes, crafting a visual epic that equated athletic prowess with the supposed superiority of the Aryan race. But the script didn't go entirely to plan. On the world's biggest stage, a young African-American athlete named Jesse Owens delivered a stunning performance. He won 4 gold medals in track and field, shattering records and, more importantly, shattering Hitler's carefully constructed myth of Aryan supremacy right in front of the world. Owens' triumph was a powerful act of counter-narrative, a moment where athletic greatness spoke louder than hateful ideology. Yet, the Berlin Games set a dangerous precedent, proving the immense power of the Olympic stage for political messaging. After World War II, the world split in two, and the Olympics became a new kind of battlefield. The Cold War turned the Games into a proxy war between the United States and the Soviet Union. Every event, every medal, was framed as a direct contest between capitalism and communism. The medal count wasn't just a scoreboard. It was treated as a definitive measure of which ideology was superior. For decades, newspaper headlines and television broadcasts breathlessly tracked the race for the top spot, turning athletes into ideological warriors. This tension reached its peak with a series of politically charged boycotts. In 1980, the United States led a boycott of the Moscow Olympics to protest the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. It was a massive political statement that kept some of the world's top athletes at home. The Soviets responded in kind 4 years later, leading an Eastern Bloc boycott of the 1984 Los Angeles Games, citing concerns over security and chauvinistic sentiments. The spirit of unity was in tatters. The athletes, who had trained their entire lives for this one moment, were reduced to pawns in a global political chess match. Behind the scenes, the Win-Telkost's mentality fueled darker practices. The most notorious example was East Germany's state-sponsored doping program. From the 1970s until the fall of the Berlin Wall, the Stasi, East Germany's secret police, orchestrated a systematic doping regime, giving performance-enhancing drugs to thousands of athletes, many of whom were unwitting teenagers. The goal was simple: win medals, prove the strength of the communist state, and gain international legitimacy. The program produced incredible results on the medal table, but at a devastating human cost, leaving a legacy of chronic illness, psychological trauma, and shattered lives. The pursuit of political victory had poisoned the very heart of sport. In the post-Cold War era, the nature of Olympic propaganda shifted. A new strategy emerged: soft power, Authoritarian regimes realized that hosting the Games was the ultimate public relations campaign. The 2008 Beijing Olympics was a masterclass in this approach. China invested billions of dollars, building architectural marvels like the Bird's Nest Stadium and staging an opening ceremony of breathtaking scale and precision. The message was clear. China had arrived as a modern, sophisticated global superpower. But this gleaming facade concealed a darker reality. To prepare for the Games, entire neighborhoods were demolished, displacing over 1 million residents. Activists and critics were silenced, and the country's human rights record was carefully scrubbed from the international narrative. Similarly, the 2014 Sochi Winter Olympics, the most expensive in history at the time, were Russian President Vladimir Putin's personal project. It was designed to showcase a strong, resurgent Russia. Yet, the Games were plagued by allegations of corruption, environmental damage, and controversy over Russia's anti-LGBT laws. These soft power Olympics follow a familiar script. Spend whatever it takes to create a perfect image for a global audience, while sweeping any inconvenient truths under the rug. The Games become a 2-week-long commercial for the host regime, a Potemkin village on a global scale. Today, the political maneuvering is intertwined with another colossal force: money. The modern Olympics are a multi-billion-dollar enterprise, driven by corporate sponsors and lucrative broadcasting rights. Companies like Coca-Cola, Visa, and Samsung pay hundreds of millions of dollars to associate their brands with the Olympic ideals of excellence and unity. Television networks pay billions for the exclusive rights to broadcast the Games, shaping the narrative to maximize viewership and advertising revenue. This commercialization has led to an unprecedented level of control. Olympic host cities are transformed into high-security zones, with massive police presence and widespread surveillance. Strict brand exclusion zones are created around venues, prohibiting any business that isn't an official sponsor. Even athletes are tightly controlled, with rules limiting what they can say or post on social media. The spontaneous joy and individual expression of sport are increasingly packaged, sanitized, and commercialized. The question becomes, whose narrative are we watching? Is it the story of the athletes, or the story that sponsors and broadcasters want us to see? So we return to our original question: are the Olympics still about sport? From the overt propaganda of 1936, Berlin, to the ideological battles of the Cold War and the soft power spectacles of the 21st century, politics and power have always been at the heart of the Games. The Olympic movement was founded on a beautiful lie: that sport could exist in a vacuum, separate from the messy world of politics. History has proven this to be a naive hope. But perhaps that's not the whole story. For every state-sponsored spectacle, there's a moment of genuine sportsmanship. For every boycott, there's an athlete like Jesse Owens, whose sheer talent transcends the political noise. The original spirit of the Games may be buried under layers of politics, money, and spectacle, but it hasn't been extinguished entirely. It lives on in the dedication of the athletes, in the moments of unexpected camaraderie between rivals, and in the shared human drama of victory and defeat. The future of the Olympics depends on which of these forces we choose to celebrate. Will we continue to let the Games be a stage for the powerful, or can we reclaim them as a true celebration of humanity? The next time you watch that flame being lit, it's worth asking what it really symbolizes. Thank you for watching.